Let's go live to Kiev and our correspondent there, Jonah Fisher.
Hugh, it was about this time yesterday that news was coming through that the prominent Russian journalist and critic of Vladimir Putin had been killed here in Kiev. Many people spent the day trying to come to terms with the news that Arkady Babchenko had been killed. Flowers were laid, vigils were planned for this evening. Some even started collecting money for his funeral. Then late this afternoon came the extraordinary turn of events, which, to be quite frank, still has many people here scratching their heads in disbelief. It turned out that this was all a setup by the Ukrainian authorities, a fake to try and ensnare, to try and catch a Russian agent.
This was the scene last night outside Arkady Babchenko's apartment. Ukraine's police had just announced that the Russian journalist had been assassinated. A fearless and outspoken critic of Vladimir Putin, Mr. Babchenko's death seemed another chilling example of the way the Kremlin targets its opponents wherever they live.
It's calculated, deliberate international terrorist crime.
This morning, we were at the apartment.
Somewhere around here, as he went in to his apartment, he was shot in the back several times.
There was a strange lack of police, but at that point, we had no inkling of what had really taken place. Neither did most Ukrainian politicians, who were quick to point the finger of blame towards the east. It marked another dark moment in the awful relationship between Russia and Ukraine. A steady stream of anti-Kremlin figures have been assassinated on Kiev's streets. But Arkady Babchenko, incredibly, is not one of them. 19 hours after he was declared dead, he was brought forward, very much alive, to gasps at a press conference. Colleagues at his TV channel responded, as you might expect, in amazement. It turned out that Mr. Babchenko had been a willing participant in a security service sting, apparently to catch a Russian-linked man who really was trying to kill him.
First, I would like to apologize for what all of you had to experience, for what you had to get through. I have buried friends and colleagues many times, and I know this sickening feeling. I'm sorry you had to experience it, but there was no other way.
As Mr. Babchenko went to meet Ukraine's president, the debate as to what had happened began in earnest. For many, the ends have justified the many lies.
I was the only one who knew about this at the presidential administration. I was sure there were no other way to do it. You've done very well.
Others are wondering about the lasting impact on Ukraine's credibility. It claims to be on the front line, fighting against Russia's war of disinformation. Now it's been responsible for perhaps the greatest of all fakes. Jonah Fisher, BBC News, Ukraine.